Good evening. My name is Isaiah Wallace, and today we'll be talking about different contracts that people are sometimes forced or have to sign in their lives. Now, because I'm very young, I do not have any particular important contracts that I have to sign in my life right now, but one contract that I do know that a lot of people do have to sign or at least think about signing, which is also a very popular contract these days, is a prenup. A prenup is when two people enter an agreement before they get married or a legal document which also describes how the assets and property will be divided if a divorce or event of the death ever occurs between the two of them. It's a private agreement between a couple signed before they are married, which sets forth the division of their assets in the event of divorce or death between one of the members of the couple. Each state has its own laws regarding the enforcement and the validity of prenup agreements. In most states, the agreement has to be fair. Parties have to fully disclose their assets, and the parties each need their own property. Now, it can set forth what will happen to you and your spouse. It can also preserve the nature of the property in the event of the marriage ending. It's good to think ahead when it comes to a prenup agreement. A prenup agreement is very sensitive to certain people because it can cause a lot of negative thoughts and things in the thinking process. It's good to think ahead. Doing it a week before the marriage or anything close towards the marriage is never good. It's always good to plan ahead, and think about it early in the relationship once you decide to get married. The idea of a prenup should always be brought up long before. It's also good to decide terms together. It's good to start the conversation early of a prenup because, like I said earlier, a prenup is very sensitive because it can cause one member of the relationship to feel like, oh, there's distrust in this relationship, or you're already thinking that this marriage is going to end. It's always good to listen to each other and listen to the partner's concerns. Communication is always key when it comes to something like this. It's also good to leave room for change over time, and it's always good to own up to what you want in the beginning so there's no type of situations or problems in the end. So it's always good to own up to what you want ahead of time. There are a couple pros and cons when it comes to a prenup agreement. It helps protect the kids, and also business assets are protected. Now, a couple of the cons that I already said earlier was that it can make one couple, the marriage, feel like it's already going to end, and it can also cause distrust in the relationship. Having people think that the marriage already end of a prenup will sometimes make somebody of the relationship feel like, oh, okay, then well, you're already thinking that this marriage is going to end because you automatically don't trust me and there's no hope. But a prenup isn't always about that. It's good for 10 years, with the most common being no spousal support, unless married for at least 10 years. Another thing is that children are off the table. It can provide for or limit child support or rights related to children. Courts and legislators do not let couples bargain away the rights of their children. A prenup agreement is something that is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic and emotional topic because there's a lot of thought process that goes behind a prenup agreement, which is always good to start the conversation early, hear each other out, communicate with one another so there's no type of disagreements towards the end and everything is already set forth. Thank you.